LNTEOW, labor and the expression of worth. Together, we are discovering our common work, common stories, and common love. Meditation, in my estimation, is the most non-aggressive form of discipline. As with any discipline, there are many forms of meditation. The one I am most familiar with, I might describe as compassionate stillness. Stilling the body is the first step. In other words, I find a static posture. I stop moving. All movement, except for the breath, of course, the rising and falling of the chest. My meditative practice is inspired by a Buddhist Vipassana teaching that I received mostly through Pema Chodron, a Buddhist nun. But that began with Thich Nhat Hanh for me in a book called The Art of Power. But really, it began when I read this scripture that said, "Be still and know that I am God." I began trying to be still back when I was 22 years old. Pema stressed that there is nothing to accomplish in this practice. And if you suddenly think you're doing it right, well then, you've missed the point entirely. And if you think you're doing it wrong, well, you've missed something there too. Nonetheless, there are specific instructions that we all might benefit from following. Meditation, as far as I understand it, might be considered to be a practice of compassion, or perhaps a meeting between what is going on in the mind with the simplicity of awareness, or rather allowing oneself to become compassionate about one's thoughts and emotions, sitting with what is. I suggest that you give some attention to someone like Pema, who's really studied, under teachers. I learned from books, for the most part, and experience. There is a lineage that deserves respect. The teachings are a result of generations of disciplined practice. Some teachers have specific instructions as to what to do with your legs and your spine and your teeth and your tongue, even. Never having had the opportunity to study in person with an expert on these matters, I have taken what I could understand from meditation teachers, and I have developed a practice of my own. I spent 8 years working as a licensed physical therapist assistant in the state of New Mexico. I had the honor of working with many different types of people, all whose bodies no longer functioned in the way they once did. One of my responsibilities was to simply help people to become aware of their posture. We called that postural awareness. I did not consider it my job to fix anyone's posture. I helped people to become aware, sometimes, that they had a posture at all. We oftentimes inhabit these bodies without a lot of mindful awareness about our posture. From a seated position, we might simply become aware of how our hips, our spine, and our shoulders are relating to one another. Imagine you have a tail. Now stick out your tail by tilting your pelvis. Now tuck your tail by tilting your pelvis in the opposite direction. Now make those movements again. Tilt your pelvis back and forth. And this time, feel into your spine as you do that. This is what I mean when I say that your hips and your spine have a relationship. Hip movements affect spinal movements, postural awareness. Anterior pelvic tilt extends your spine. Posterior pelvic tilt flexes your spine. When the spine is extended, our shoulders tend to pull back, which opens up our chest. When the spine is flexed, our shoulders tend to move forward, which closes the chest and slumps our head. And this is what I mean when I say that our hips, our spine, and shoulders are all connected. This became the core of my teaching around postural awareness during my time as a teacher in physical therapy. In my meditation practice, I have found it helpful to find a relatively neutral position. I usually sit in a half lotus position with hips, spine, and shoulders somewhere right in the middle of spinal extension and flexion. Once we have discovered this relaxed but alert position, we are ready to bring attention to the breath. We may notice the rising and the falling of our chest, or we may notice the cooling and warming sensations as air passes through the nose over the upper lip. Either will do. The breath will serve as our anchor for attention in the physical body. The breath, our focus of attention as it moves in and out of a body which sits in the half lotus position with pelvis, spine, shoulders, and head in a neutral position. All of this is one way we might describe what it is like to still our body. Half lotus, neutral hips, neutral spine, neutral shoulders, neutral head, and breath. Our chest is rising and falling. As a matter of compassionate discipline, we bring our attention to the rising of our chest until it is full of oxygen. Now breathe out. Follow the falling of your chest now until the air is exhaled from your lungs. Do it again. Good. Each time you find your mind wandering from this simple awareness of the rising and falling of your chest, or the coolness and the warmth on your upper lip, just bring yourself back compassionately. That's it. Or at least that can be it. You can make it as complicated as you want, or it can be as simple as you want. Really, it's up to you. With those simple instructions, you may begin to notice just how busy your mind is. Or you may discover yourself enjoying the simplicity of a breath or two, and then wondering in the next moment why you abandoned such a simple joy for a more complex thought or emotion. You may find yourself smiling for no reason at all at the simplicity of all this. That's beautiful. It's simple. It's beautiful. You may just find a smile. You may choose to receive as many simple, beautiful smiles as you wish. Breathing in and breathing out. May the Lord bless you and keep you, cause his face to shine upon you, be gracious to you, and give you peace.